Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump will never give his tax returns to Democrats. And this is a good thing. After 2 years of Trump-Russia collusion hysteria, culminating with the Mueller report stating no collusion, no obstruction, congressional Democrats will never obtain President Trump's tax returns, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney said Sunday. Nor should they obtain the documents. He's right. Keep in mind that's an issue that was already litigated during the election. Voters knew the president could have given over his tax returns. They knew that he didn't, and they elected him anyway, which of course is what drives Democrats crazy. So this is really, really interesting. And they're trying to, this is the way the Democratic Party works. If you were to tell them, hey, cash flow to the Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal, that's the New York Times article verbatim. If you were to say that to them, well, so there's nothing. That doesn't mean anything. You can't prove a quid pro quo. That was a coincidence. Well, but Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. Oh, thank you so much, Vladdy. I'll tell you what, the caviar was so amazing. Everything else was great too. Oh, yeah. Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin while the deal was going down. Madam Cyberhack was on the Committee on Foreign Investment, sat quietly, didn't utter a word. Yet, Putin was supposed to be so afraid of her. Yellow Cake was shipped out of the country. The fantastic Mueller was FBI director. You have William D. Campbell, an FBI informant, stating that lobbyists were bragging. Russian lobbyists were bragging about their influence over President Obama's administration and the Clinton Foundation. But you can't connect any dots. You can't. Don't you understand? You cannot. That money that was sent to the Clinton Foundation, I mean, from UBS and from Boeing and the Haiti, what happened in Haiti, everything. Weapons deals, 185 donors give $156 million, $10 billion stolen from the people of Haiti. $10 billion raised. Where's the money? I interviewed Daddy Cherry, a wonderful journalist, Haitian-born journalist, in the Huffington Post. And she explained what 3% of the $10 billion was actually used for projects. Everything else, nobody knows where the money is. So we're wondering why they want Trump's tax returns. You can't, with Democrats, the actual criminal activity, you're talking about real crimes. You're talking about top secret intelligence being transferred outside of the United States government onto servers outside of the United States government with obvious quid pro quo transactions, pay-to-play schemes. And journalists on the left, when they say, oh, well, I'm calling out the Democrats. No, you're not. If you don't bring up Madam Cyberhack, you're not calling out anyone. You have to say, well, there's one person who committed major crimes and felonies, and that person happens to be the 2016 Democratic nominee who cheated Bernie Sanders, and then of course Bernie Sanders took a dive and then said, what did he say? Hillary had to run against the Russian government also. I mean, it's just, what kind of guy, what kind of person promotes the same myth that says that he and Jill Stein were a part of a Russian plot? Anyway, what's the point of looking at Trump's tax returns? What's the point? What are they going to derive from that? Well, you see, this was a deal done by somebody who knew, who was, mother's cousin's proctologist was friendly with this person who knows Vladimir Putin. And meanwhile, Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. Bill Clinton got $500,000 to speak in Moscow. Bill Clinton got $1.2 million from UBS after Hillary hooked them up with the IRS. Isn't that interesting? So let's just read this again. He's not going to give them the tax returns because they haven't. See, what Democrats also fail to realize is that they actually have to accuse him of a specific crime in order to obtain his tax returns. And the U.S. government would have already, he hasn't, the guy is not a criminal. You can't say that with Clinton. Clinton is a monumental, just criminal. But you can't say that with Trump. You can say, oh, he's belligerent, he's a bad person. Yeah. And Hillary's not going to win too many personality contests. She's running again, by the way. Yeah, she's running. But we'll read this. In a letter sent to... Okay. Mulvaney comments come several days after House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal, a Democrat from Massachusetts, formally requested 6 years of Trump's personal tax returns. Why? For what? For what purpose? For what purpose? The Democrats are demanding that the IRS turn over the documents, and that's not going to happen. They know it. Simply saying, well, what are you hiding? That you had Hillary Clinton, who literally deleted 33,000 emails, used private servers outside of the United States government, accepts quid pro quo transactions, pay-to-play schemes that aren't shown in her tax returns. So it's like, well, she's been transparent. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Really transparent. Okay. That's interesting. Why would you never use a state.gov if you're so transparent? But you can't expect people on the left or Democrats or media to even care about this. Do you understand? They're on to Trump's tax returns. They're on to it now. They've had enough with their little charade called the Mueller probe. They've had enough of it. It didn't turn out the way they wanted. They didn't get what they wanted. So now they're off to, well, he's hiding something. Well, but you have to accuse him of specifically, what did he do? What did the guy do? What is the crime here? What is the legal statute? What did he do? What does he make up something like you did with the Steele dossier that was purchased by Clinton and outsourced, and CrowdStrike outsourced by Clinton and Democrats? Make up something. Well, he had a business deal and it was illegal. Well, then, okay. Then you need evidence. Okay. They talk about circumstantial evidence, the Papadopoulos and all this. This is not circumstantial evidence. These are events that have nothing to do with Trump-Russia collusion. But you want to know what actually is circumstantial and actually direct and circumstantial evidence. At best, it's circumstantial. If you had the deleted emails, it would be, because they are all about the Clinton Foundation, you would have direct evidence. But the money into the Clinton Foundation and then beneficial treatment taking place for UBS, for Boeing, they got a $3 billion deal in Russia, Boeing. Money, they gave money to the Clinton Foundation also. 85 donors gave $156 million, and they met with Clinton. Okay, that's the Associated Press. So, that actually deals directly with President Obama's Secretary of State and her actions in office. And the fact she used private servers outside of the United States government. That actually has everything to do with her criminal behavior. Espionage Act violations. So, but with Trump, it's like, well, we need to see his tax returns. Why? What's the point? What are you going to find out? What on earth are you going to find out? What are you accusing him of? You've already found there's no collusion. Mueller is not indicting anyone else. That's another issue. They're like, well, we have to look at every single line of the report because the summary was only 4 pages, and this is 400 pages. So you're saying the Mueller team and Robert Mueller and all of them, they just decided to end the probe? I mean, what are you? You're saying that they actually wanted to indict Trump Jr. and President Trump, but they didn't? Why didn't they charge anyone with any other crimes? Because Congressman Devin Nunes this week has, 8 criminal referrals. Yeah, it's going to be a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be awesome. You definitely want to be on this channel. It's like James Brown said, the big payback. The big payback. It's awesome. But the Mueller team, they're leaking information left and right, but they're not, they didn't recommend any indictments. Maybe because nothing happened. Maybe because it was 2 years of a fabricated probe that Clinton purchased. But they found nothing. And now they're on to the next hysterical, maniacal quest for something. We know he did something, but you can't use that logic. You can't use that rationale with Clinton. Even though it's so transparent. Everyone around Clinton, including herself, committed crimes. And the echo chamber on Twitter, it's like, Twitter has become, I would say this is something, and like, I was like, somebody took it the wrong way in the comments section. This is my advice to people. As the election gets closer and things start like just heating up and people get passionate, whatever, I think social media is going to be counterproductive for people who do not want to deal with nonsense. Because you can look up, I'm not on Twitter. I deleted my Twitter. I had like 26,000 people, followers. Twitter was funny. Like it stayed at 26,000 forever. And then people couldn't see my tweets. All that stuff was like, whatever. But 26,000 people on Twitter deleted. I had like 12, 15,000 something on Facebook deleted that. I don't need it. I don't need it for my writing. I don't need it for my books. I don't need it for the website I'm creating, by the way, how to defeat a liberal or progressive in any debate regarding Trump. Basically, how to cure or defeat Trump derangement syndrome if you have family members. Right? It's going to be a great website. Oh, Trump is a racist. Type that in the website. You'll realize you'll debunk it in 2 seconds. But you know me, I'm all over the place. They're not going to get his tax returns, because there's nothing, he hasn't committed any crimes. So there's no law, and Jim Jordan, who's awesome, Representative Jim Jordan, Dems want, Trump tweeted this a couple hours back, Dems want president's tax returns for purely political purposes. Frightening, but shouldn't surprise us. Same folks used the IRS to get Americans for their political beliefs, which is true. And they want to, sift through every line, every word in the Mueller report. Oh my God, they want to. And Representative Jim Jordan, it's true. There's no law that says they have to be public. His tax returns is true. They're like, well, the Hillary did. Yeah, because her quid pro quo transactions they're not located in her tax returns. And furthermore, she's impervious to anything. She's like beyond Teflon on the left. They think that way about Trump, but Trump actually doesn't commit crimes. He didn't commit any crimes. They just hate his personality. They can't stand him. They can't stand him because he's the antithesis in terms of the culture, the world that they want. Trump represents a step backwards in terms of the world that they envision. They envision a world where if they can, destroy Libya with a failed NATO intervention, it's okay, but as long as you're presidential. That's the world they love. They're fine with that. They're fine with keeping Americans abroad forever. They don't care as long as people abide by a certain standard of behavior on social media. They're complete hypocrites in every way. But, I mean, it's a situation where they're not going to get what they want, He's not going to give them their tax returns. They're going to have to. There's no Steele dossier now. There's no James Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Brennan, who will be under criminal investigation all very soon. They're going to need to actually frame or set up Trump, but they can't do that anymore because they don't have people at the Justice Department. They don't have people at the FBI anymore. The people at the FBI who engaged in, who conspired against Trump are all being investigated internally by the FBI. There are a whole bunch, and that's Christopher Wray stated that in testimony. The Office of Professional Responsibility, which is hilarious that the FBI has that, considering that they're like, well, we couldn't find intent under Comey. They let Clinton get away with probably the biggest cybersecurity disaster of all time. She had an unencrypted server for 5.5 months with top secret and special access program intelligence eventually funneled onto that server. Somehow. We have no clue how she transferred the information. And they're worried about Trump's tax returns. And every single New York Times article is, sources say, unnamed sources say this, unnamed sources say that. Oh, it's an unnamed source. Officials close to the matter. Why should we trust the New York Times? Why should we trust the New York Times? They're in the tank, beyond in the tank for Clinton. Beyond that. They're not getting the tax returns, ladies and gentlemen, which is hilarious. The one great thing about Trump is that he fights back. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Subscribe to HA2A and check out my latest article in The Federalist. President Trump should pardon General Michael Flynn. Thank you. Oh, my Patreon link is below if you want to support my voice long